Hello and welcome to another episode of the Afterburners podcast.
It's called a podcast.
I did the same thing last week.
You did.
All right.
We're now a codcast named after the
Codcast.
fish.
As opposed to the cod piece. Because that would be worse. That would be, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but that'd probably be like a different kind of podcast.
God, geez. All right, here we go. 3, 2. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Afterburners podcast. It is April 30th, 2018. Bobby, you know what that means tomorrow is, right?
May 1st.
It's gonna be May. I hate when
I
saw
somehow
those
knew
memes.
you were going to do
I'm
that.
gonna hate all those memes that we're gonna see on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow. So how you doing today, Bobby? I see you're nice, well shaven.
Yeah, I had a
Which sounded
shaving
very
accident, and it's weird. I don't like the way my face looks without facial hair. I look like a giant baby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of weird, but we're here to talk football and not about my face.
Mike. Well, we're gonna continue talking about your face, Mike. How much? What do you think about Bobby's face right now? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't like his face when he has facial hair either. So, it's kind of a moot point, but he definitely does look like a giant baby now without it.
What do you think the age is that he looks right now? I'm going like 16.
Yeah, I was gonna say 17.
17, 16, 17.
Sweet.
We're gonna ask Shane. We actually got a new guest today, so we're gonna ask Shane when he comes in. We got him on the line right now. He is the co-host of the Dynasty Trades HQ over at Dynasty Trades HQ. He's also the co-owner, editor, and writer of Dynasty Football Factory. Welcome to our humble show, Shane. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Bobby looks like a big dumb baby. Stupid baby.
Yeah, he definitely he was very distraught when I came over today and was searching for the right words. So
I have a fake Santa beard somewhere, even though I'm Jewish, that my mom got me for some reason. I've been considering wearing it around until my beard grows back.
I think so Shane, first off, welcome to the show. We're
Thank
very
you.
very happy to have you. In terms of age, how old does Bobby look?
13 and a half.
Wow.
So I look about the same age as our friend Addison Hayes.
Roughly. Addison's 7 years old.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm still looking a little bit older than him.
But real quick, that just brings up a real quick story. It's not a long one, don't worry, but it probably sucks. So yesterday I went to go visit my uncle, whatever. His one of his grandkids was there. I don't know which one of the redheaded ones. And I was telling her about my kid's YouTube channel, and she asked me if it was a vlog or a video channel, and I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. So a 6-year-old had to explain to me what the goddamn a vlog is.
Wait, so your kid has a vlog?
No. Apparently they have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
What is it? Can you a little elaborate? Like, give us a little hint, a little snippet of what the channel's about, what they talk about.
The Night Monster. There's a lot of yelling. They like to show their toys off, and then him and my son's dancing. A lot of that, but whatever. Sometimes I'll tweet it out because I'm like, I don't know, maybe a bunch of people will start following them, and I can retire.
Like you just hide somewhere and scare your kids. That seems like something you would do.
Well, I have a CPAP machine now, so in the middle of the night, I might start sneaking in their room, depending on how they behave that day.
If you were to describe to me that show, and I'd be like, oh, you're definitely talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Charlie and Frank. That's definitely their YouTube channel, right?
I do let the kids watch that with me, which I probably shouldn't because they're 9 and 6, but whatever.
No, I mean, like, they would come up with a show just like that's like a
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, so you're calling my kids stupid? Wow. Jesus.
Well, we are starting off on a rough foot right now. With that, we're going to get started. Let's just go to football. You guys just want to talk football?
I like
Let's
football.
talk football.
Mike, you on board for football?
I'm on board for football.
All right, listeners, we got a great show today. We're going to talk. Obviously, we got Shane from Dynasty Football Factory. He's at DFF_Shane. We're going to talk nothing but the quarterbacks that were drafted in this year's draft. By the way, which team of our three? I'm assuming, Shane, you're an Eagles fan.
Of course.
So between Mike's a Saints fan, I'm a Steelers fan, Bobby Giants fan. Between those three teams, which team had the worst draft, do you think?
I didn't even pay attention to Pittsburgh. I know they got James Washington. You said you're a Saints fan?
First round of the draft.
You're a Saints fan?
I am, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was Mike then, because the Saints traded up.
Yeah, to get Davenport.
Yeah, no, that was a horrible, and they gave up a first next year. That would have made sense if they would have been moving up for a quarterback, but
right.
Yeah. So they had the worst draft.
Yeah.
Even though the Giants should have had a better draft, but that's another story.
Right.
Mike, you want to vent a little bit about the Saints?
I'll talk about it later on in the show.
Probably he's saving it for his burn.
Clearly. I wonder when that's coming up. All right, guys, we got a great show for you all today. We're going to talk all 13 of the quarterbacks that were drafted in this year's round. We got Shane, we got Bob, we got Mike, obviously me, but I am not the expert at all. The other three are. We're going to talk who was the winner, who was the loser. We'll give a quick breakdown on that. Before we get started, Shane's going to drop some info. Mike's going to drop his info. Bobby's going to follow that up. I'll follow it up with where you can reach us, and then we're going to go head over heels, dig deep, balls deep into the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Shane, drop your Twitter handle for everybody.
Oh, I thought he did. All right. I'm still
stuff again. We like to plug as much as possible on that.
Okay, so that's like my wife. So I'm at BFF_Shane. I do the podcast thing every week. One should have dropped today, but my editor is unfortunately laxing. I yelled at him earlier about talking to people without getting our show out. The Dynasty Trades HQ pod. Bobby's actually been on, helped me set up a YouTube channel that I've never used.
Yeah, that's true. I was on. It was a good time.
I do some writing when I can, a lot of editing, just an ungodly amount of editing until your eyes bleed. And for fun, I like to post some of my articles on Reddit just to argue with people.
And Mike, where can people find you?
Same as always, on Twitter at Mike Jarvis. We can hook me up on Insta at Mike Jarvis YNWA. And yeah, that's about it.
Mike's continuing with the Insta drop.
We're gonna make Insta. We're gonna grow the Insta.
All right. You can find me at Rec Fantasy. You can find my work on DLF Football, as well as 2QBs. I'm a draft day consultant, and I think that's all I got. Over to you, Sam.
I am at the Needy One. That's where you can reach me on Twitter. This is at Afterburners Pod. You can find us on Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes. Make sure on iTunes that you subscribe, download, review. That way you get every new episode delivered directly to your earbuds. And for those of you that like to listen to podcasts on your commute, what better way than to go straight to your phone? Guys, we're going to talk all 13 of the quarterbacks that were drafted, and we're going to get everyone's rapid, well, not really rapid reaction, but somewhat of a rapid reaction into how we can parlay this into the knowledge of our dynasty fantasy teams or Superflex 2 quarterback teams. So how do you want to do this? Should I just read off? Obviously, we want to start with like the lower end guys first, right? Work our way up to like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I love Logan Woodside. I really do. Is that a real person, by the way?
He sounds like somebody from definitely like one of those high school shows. It's always about varsity blue, like a high school movie, like Varsity Blues or something. Like, oh, Logan Woodside, quarterback for your Texas Western team or whatever.
Yeah, he went to Directional College U. He tore his shoulder in his senior season when he was about to go pro, and
now he's the town drunk. All right,
we clearly have very strong takes on Logan Woodside on this podcast.
So let's do it. Let's go. Logan Woodside. He was the 13th quarterback taken. He was taken by Cincinnati in the 7th round from Toledo. Mike, lay us some Logan Woodside knowledge. You winner, loser? What do you think?
Judging by the fact that he landed in Cincinnati and that offensive line's garbage, and I don't really like the weapons aside from AJ Green, I'm going to say he's a loser.
Shane, what do you think? Loser?
Well, I never heard of the guy. So the fact that he got drafted, I think, is huge. I'm going to make him a winner only because their line's actually improving. They drafted Billy Price in the first. They traded for Cordy Glenn in the offseason. And I'm going to assume the only guy in front of him right now is Andy Dalton. So, yeah, I'm going to call him a winner.
Yeah, I'm actually somewhat with Shane on that one, where I feel like they're getting kind of sick of Andy Dalton in Cincinnati, and he has maybe this season to prove himself. So Woodside might have an opportunity, and I just read today, not only was he drafted, but they were considering trading up to draft him. So he's a player they really wanted. So he's an interesting late round stash or waiver wire guy.
I'm with Mike. He's a big loser, man. Like he's going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati doesn't care. Like they just want to be. They always want to make money. Like they're going to be this average team year in and year out. So even if Andy Dalton is bad, they're like, oh, let's just bring in this Logan Woodside. He's average. By the way, he's from Toledo. Can anybody name a top running back in the NFL that went to Toledo?
There's that Kareem Hunt guy.
I had to drop the Kareem Hunt knowledge there, bomb right there, right?
Yeah, who's our next? By the way, I think that's the most Logan Woodside will be covered by any podcast or media outlet.
Yeah, no, he might actually listen to this.
Yeah,
we're gonna tweet at him after this because me and Bobby are pulling for the kid.
And Sam and I are against him, so he'll probably block.
It might be like
we're gonna get blocked,
Cooper.
Mike. That's 100%.
It might be like Cooper Kupp's grandma. Logan Woodside's grandma will tweet at me and be like, "Thanks for supporting my grandson."
Bobby,
Nope.
I expect to see an article in 2QBs about Logan Woodside being the sneaky ad.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even know what he looked like. I just put up a picture of him, man. He's not very attractive either. He wouldn't even make our hot quarterbacks list.
Wow. Logan Woodside's family is not going to be happy with you when they listen to this podcast.
I'm sure all 12 of his followers on Twitter would probably hate me. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. So we got 2 winners, 2 losers. Bobby, lay us down some – you think he's a waiver wire pickup?
I think you could
take a flyer on him?
You could take a flyer on him. If you have like a taxi squad, put him on your taxi squad, I guess.
Shane, flyer worthy?
Yeah, and 2QB Superflex, definitely.
Mike, you okay with that, or are you still saying loser?
I'm still saying loser. I'm not wasting the roster spot.
I wouldn't touch him with your dick, Mike. We're going to move on to the next one. The 12th quarterback that was taken by Seattle from Alex Magoo. Magoo?
I was reading it Magoo because that's more fun.
Magoo. Mr. Magoo from Florida International went to Seattle. Shane, start us off. Winner or loser?
He's a freaking loser. He doesn't even have a picture on NFL.com for his prospects. Like literally, you could cut and paste anyone's picture there right now.
We should put your picture on there.
We should. I'm gonna work on that right now.
Bobby, winner or loser?
I'm gonna go winner, and one of the reasons I say that is he has very little competition for backup to Russell Wilson, which means if Russell Wilson gets injured, he could be relevant. And the other thing is he's the only Seattle quarterback that's been drafted by the Carroll and Schneider, I think is their GM, right? Combo since Wilson. So he's a winner in my book just for being in the same conversation as the GOAT.
Mike, you agreeing with Bobby there, or are you going to try to slap him knowledge in the face right now?
No, I'm agreeing with Bobby. That was everything I was going to say, so I don't need to say any more.
So he's a winner?
He's a winner in my books. I'd put him on my taxi squad.
That makes sense. I think you could probably take a flyer on him like that. The reason I'm going loser is because Seattle is very convinced to not do anything to protect the quarterback position. They're just not they're doing nothing to help out Russell Wilson.
If I may interject, that's a reason that he's a winner because they're not doing anything to protect Russell Wilson. But if his backup might actually get to start.
So he's going to go in and he's not going to get hurt like Russell Wilson?
No, he probably will, but at least he'll have his moment in the sun.
Yeah, he'll get to play one game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going loser because he doesn't have a picture on the website, like Shane said. We're going to move on to Danny Etling. Now, this is an interesting one. 7th round pick from the New England Patriots. He's from LSU, to the New England Patriots. Bobby, is he the heir apparent to the Golden Boy?
I wouldn't say heir apparent, and it's weird. I think it's just the order you went in, but I had him as another winner. And the reason I had him as a winner is just one simple fact, which is that Bill Belichick finds a way to take all these late round quarterbacks and turn them into starters in the NFL, whether that's for the Patriots or later on. Brian Hoyer comes to mind, as well as a few other Brady backups have found jobs elsewhere.
Where was Jimmy G drafted?
Jimmy G was drafted in the 2nd, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think Danny Etling is the winner because he was drafted to, as much as we all love to hate the Patriots, they are one of the best franchises in the NFL.
Mike, you think you okay with that?
Yeah. I'm okay with him as a winner. Worst case scenario, they keep him around for a bit, and if Brady gets cyborg arm, they deal him to, Indianapolis when Luck realizes he can't play again, and they get a 2nd round pick out of it. So Etling starts eventually in 3 years, and New England gets a bigger draft pick than what they spent on him. So it's a winner all around.
Shane, lay it on us.
Yeah, real quick, Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo. He was a 62nd overall, so I'm going to guess that was a second round, since it was 2014, and the league hasn't expanded since then, right? Right. So yeah, he was a late second rounder. I'm going to just
not expanded since 2014.
I don't think it has. I'm going to have to go with Bobby. I mean, you get to sit behind Tom Brady, who, yeah, he's a douchebag. I mean, yeah, his hair's stupid and he's annoying, and there's a lot of other bad things about him as a human being. But he's a great quarterback, and he seems to be willing to share his knowledge with the younger guys. So that'll be a good spot for the kid. Assuming he makes the roster, there's a chance that he's going to have a career as a backup in the league.
Yep.
So I actually agree. I think we're all saying he's a winner, but I think it's not because of maybe not necessarily because of Danny Etling, but just because of the situation he's in, right? Is that about right with everyone?
Yeah, they could have drafted you there, and I would have said you were a winner.
Yeah, that's fair. I would too.
I don't know about that. I'm pretty bad.
It doesn't matter. Look, they'll coach you up. Don't worry about it.
When you're talking about quarterbacks this deep, for the most part, it's not about their skill. It's about the talent or situation they find themselves. Because if they're in the 6th or 7th round, they're probably not considered to be the most skilled player ever.
Except for last year when Chad Kelly was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Dak Prescott was what, the 6th rounder?
No, wasn't he 3rd or 4th round?
Yeah.
All right, so I dug a little too deep there. I'm sorry, Dak. You're not as bad in terms of draft capital as I thought you were. I just wish that you were, I guess, or I don't really know. I feel better now, actually, that he's the 3rd or 4th rounder. It makes me feel good that the Cowboys didn't get an absolute steal, just somewhat of a steal.
Mike, final words, Danny Etling, you got any?
Yeah, he's a winner. Like I said, the situation, the Patriots will find a way to turn it into a good situation. If he doesn't start, he'll be a backup, and that's a winner for me.
Yeah, I forgot he was at LSU too. They kind of have a pro offense there, so maybe he's already been in the system a little bit. There's no like transition over into any type of like learning curve. So yeah, we'll go winner here. So moving on to Tanner Lee. He was drafted by Jacksonville in the 6th round. He's from Nebraska. I know I'm up first, but I don't want to like take Bobby's spotlight away from the Jacksonville quarterback. So go ahead, Bobby. Start us off.
First of all, Blake Bortles is never going anywhere ever because he's the greatest. But even if Bortles were to get hurt, people forget that the Jags traded for Cody Kessler, who was actually a decent quarterback when given the option to start. So I have Lee as a huge loser because I don't think he'll ever see relevance.
Mike, follow it up.
Yeah, I had never heard of the guy until he got drafted. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying I'm the end-all, be-all. But, you know, Bortles appears from what he did last year to have solidified the #1 spot, at least for the next few years. And, yeah, Kessler's there. They wouldn't have signed him if they didn't think there was something to see at least. So, yeah, this guy, huge jabroni, in my opinion, big loser.
Quick correction. I think they traded for Kessler, right?
Oh, did they? I thought it was a sign.
No, it was a trade, a low-end pick, though, I think.
Okay, so yeah, so at any rate, they gave up an asset. So that's even more so than a sign to say that they see him as at least a capable backup, if not fill-in starter. So yeah, this dude, huge jabroni. See you later. Shane?
Yeah, I mean, if Cody Kessler wasn't there, maybe he's got really good size, man. 6'4", 218. 76 percentile in throw velocity. He's dumb as a bag of hammers, though. He's in the 36 percentile Wonderlic. So that's not good, pairing him with Blake Bortles. I'd love to be in the quarterback room for those discussions. And his best comparable on player profile is Tom Savage. So I'm going to give him a big L. Yeah,
that's not inspiring any confidence.
I'm going to give him an L because the Nebraska fan base completely shitted on him during draft day. That's why I'm giving him an L. So he's from Nebraska, and the fans have no faith that he's actually any good. So if they saw him for 3 to 4 years, I don't know what else there is. Just, they don't have any faith in him. I'll read you one tweet. This is from Jessica Johnson at JessiePoo4016. Now, before we go on, I'm also going to say that she is not a fantasy expert based on her her fantasy handle, but she is real. Also, it could be some type of adult entertainer.
We don't know that's not Russian bots.
Well, it could be. Or maybe she's an adult entertainer with that kind of handle. Anyways, she says, if Tanner Lee can get drafted to the NFL, anyone can. That's all the evidence I need. So I'm going to say he's a big loser.
Because a porn bot said so.
I mean, porn bots know all.
Porn bots are the new fire takes of fantasy football, bro.
Someone's going to start like FF porn bot. That's their new Twitter handle.
God damn it. I like that.
So before we go on to the next one, we're going four L's for Tanner Lee, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
freaking loser.
4 L's. That's good. I like that. All right, next one is Luke Falk. He was from Washington. I don't even know how to. Is it Falk? It's got to be
I think it's
Falk. Yeah.
Falk
Falk.
from Washington State. He'll be drafted, and he's behind Mariota. I'm going to say loss just for the simple fact that he's behind Mariota. I think Mariota's got that position locked down. Of course, he's just one injury away, hypothetically, from becoming a starter. So what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, the short-term prognosis is definitely an L. But, we saw Mariota with some injury last year that lingered on quite a bit. They've got some weapons if he can find his way into the lineup. You got Corey Davis. You've got Jonu, however you pronounce it.
Jonu,
yeah. And so there's definitely some weapons. You've got Derrick Henry in the backfield. If he can ever find his way in, I'm giving him a win, but I think it's going to be very tough, barring an injury.
Do you think he could be the number 2 quarterback this year on the depth chart?
So he's asking you if you think Luke Falk can beat out former first-round pick, I believe, Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, I do. I do think he can. Because Blaine Gabbert is terrible.
Not on the Blaine train.
Not on the Blaine train at all.
Or is the Blaine boat?
In this case, we'll go with train since it rhymes.
Blaine train. Shane, are you on the Blaine train or are you on the Falk caboose? I don't know. What is it? The Falk flyer?
The Falk. Fuck. I don't know. Just I had Tourette's. Nah. And from what I remember, he was. I don't know if he was a prominent recruit, but I just know that I've known his name for a couple years. And he really just hasn't performed. He didn't perform in college. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure he might make the roster or at least a practice squad. Maybe after Blaine Gabbert disappears in 2019, he'll get that sweet backup gig behind Mariota. And yeah, if he gets to get in there, he's got some good weapons. So he'll look half decent. And then Hugh Jackson will want to trade for him wherever he's coaching in the CFL.
Yeah, I can't say good things about Falk. I agree with the take of Falk.
He was basically – the Washington State throws like 70 times a game, right? 70, 75 times a game? Isn't that their MO? Mike Leach is there, right?
I think so. They definitely air it out quite a bit. I know that.
I'm going to go ahead and go back and say I know for a fact Mike Leach is there and they just throw like 60, 70 times a game. And so I don't know. I just don't see any quarterbacks that are throwing it that often step in and become –
So what you're saying is his arm's dead already?
No, I'm saying like, he's sitting back there on the shotgun, and not that it's too hard to like go to like an I form, but Tennessee and like Washington State are like very different types of offensive schemes, and it's going to take him some time to figure it out, I would think. Does that make sense?
He's going to marinate for a bit on the practice squad.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see him beating out Blaine Gabbert. And that's saying something about Falk.
He doesn't need to beat him out year one, though. He just needs to make the roster. Even if he's inactive on game days, and if he can just stick around that first year, there's a good chance he could stick around for a couple more years after that.
Fair enough. I lost the count. We're at 3
losses. 1 win, 3 L's.
1 and 3?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we're going on to the next one. Next one is the great Mike White from Western Kentucky. He gets drafted by America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Shane. Bobby's really happy. Bobby.
Philadelphia Eagles.
In that right there.
The Eagles didn't draft Mike White. Well, first of all, the Eagles are America's team. They're America's sweetheart. I just jumped in. I don't even know if it's my turn. But Mike White, man, 6'5", 224. Look, Dak had a really good rookie season, really bad sophomore year, and we already established what they drafted him in the fourth round.
Fourth round.
Fourth round. It's not like they expended a lot of draft capital on Dak. And Dallas has a history of taking undrafted or low drafted guys and running them out there at quarterback. I'm going to say that Mike White is a winner.
Nice, good hot take, and especially with the getting the size of him out there, man. You made my pants a little wet when you did that, Bobby. Follow that up.
I'll say, and I don't like Prescott by any means. In fact, when I was on another podcast doing quarterback rankings, I totally forgot to put him anywhere in my ranks. So that shows you how much I try to forget that he exists. But I think he's a good enough quarterback that he's laid his claim to starter job. I don't know what the Cowboys' backups look like because that would actually require me looking at the Cowboys' depth chart, which is something I never want to do in my life. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that Mike White is a loser in this case.
Is that just because he's a Cowboy too? A little bit?
Yeah, there's a little bit of just because he's a Cowboy. I want to call him a loser.
Mike, loser, winner? What do you got, Mike White?
Mike White's a loser.
Said that so matter of fact.
Wow, that's harsh.
I just burned Mike White. I'm still high on Dak. I think there was a whole shit ton of things going on in Dallas last year that, maybe were or were not his fault. Losing Zeke definitely hurt. Losing some of his O-line hurt. Yeah. But in regards to the depth chart, they've got Cooper Rush listed as the number 2. So I don't even know who that is. So Mike White might be
last year, I think, in like the 7th.
Yep.
Yeah.
7th.
Yep.
So I mean, Mike White might beat Cooper Rush out, but Dak's not losing his starting job anytime soon, unless it's an injury. I can tell you that. What he did in his rookie season, Jerry will give him a pretty long leash, and we'll see what happens now that I'd say that they have some new toys, but can you really say Tavon Austin's a new toy? Because I
could call him something. Like he's like one of the misfit toys.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to go Mike White loser.
I'm actually going to agree with Shane here. I actually think he's a winner here. I'm not really sold on Dak. I've never been sold on Dak. I think he was the benefit of a very good offensive line and a very run-heavy offense. So they were able to kind of hide his weaknesses a little bit. We saw last year when Zeke was out that Dak struggled at times. And granted, he had some pretty good fantasy numbers, but at the same time, coaches aren't really worried about fantasy numbers. They're more worried about winning games. I could see Dak going down in production and both in terms of real life and fantasy. And Mike White, I think, actually enters the season number 2 on the depth chart, enters the preseason number 2 on the depth chart after training camp and everything. One more little thing about Mike White too. He was at Western Kentucky. His previous coach was a Bobby Petrino guy. We know Bobby Petrino has a very good history of developing quarterbacks. So he was being recruited by a very NFL friendly quarterback coach. I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it fits. Somebody prove me, Bobby. Prove me wrong.
I can't. My reasoning is he's a Cowboy and he sucks.
So we went 2 and 2, 2 winners, 2 losers.
Yep, that's it.
Final thoughts there, anyone? Shane, Mike?
Just real quick with the Cowboys, the thing about Dak, like I do like Dak, but I think he's in a situation to fail right now with the weapons or lack thereof that he has. I do like Michael Gallup, but the guy's going to be a rookie. Alan Hearns, Terrence Williams.
But isn't that more of a Dak problem, which could lead to less production for Dak?
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. They've put him in a really bad situation.
Yeah, he is
where he might not be able to perform, and they might blame it on him, even if it isn't his fault.
Do you think Dak cried a little bit when Jason Witten said he was going to retire?
Probably. I would have. Yeah, I would have.
Yeah, fair enough.
There now, so.
I think he cried a little bit when the Eagles jumped the Cowboys and drafted Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I'm not going to lie.
If there's anything Jerry Jones is good at, it's deflecting blame away from him to somebody else. So he would definitely give it to like Dak or who's their coach? Jason Garrett, right?
Jason Garrett.
Somehow, yeah, still.
Right. So we got 2 wins, 2 losses for Mike White. I think you definitely take a flyer on him. I think that this time is right. So now we're going to kind of spend a little more time on these other guys. I think specifically because they're entering teams that both Bobby and I cheer for. The next one was drafted in the 4th round by the New York Giants. He's a Richmond Spider. I'm not going to get this last name right at all. Kyle Laletta.
That's right.
Got it. Bobby, lead us off since this is your team and this is your boy.
So I'm still, spoiler alert, I'm still mad that they didn't take Josh Rosen number 2. But Kyle Laletta is a good pick for the Giants. And I say that because he plays well in a West Coast offense, which is what Pat Shermer runs. The other thing is, it's not so much about Laletta for me as it is about Shermer, because Shermer took Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, and probably I'm not trying to shit on those two, but a steaming pile of garbage at quarterback and somehow fix them and turn them into legitimate NFL quarterbacks. So that makes me excited about what he can do with Laletta. I know I don't know what they were thinking last year, but based on the fact that Davis Webb was drafted by the old regime and he didn't even get into a game when they decided to bench Eli, that tells me a lot of what I need to know about Davis Webb. So I'm on Team Laletta as the future of the franchise now, at least until they either draft or sign another quarterback.
Quick question for you, follow-up question for you, Bobby. How excited were you to see Gettleman mimic analytics guys with a fake computer in that press conference picture?
Yeah, so I had to step away for a bit. I didn't talk about football for a good 4 to 5 hours because I was legitimately angry. It didn't help that I wasn't having a good day in general when that happened. But yeah, I have zero faith in Gettleman. A lot of faith in Shermer. So I hope that actually Gettleman is fired and Shermer's kept around, but I don't think Gettleman's getting fired anytime soon.
Shane, are you, as an Eagles fan, and then you can follow up with your fantasy analysis of Laletta, as an Eagles fan, are you a little worried about the future with the Giants and Laletta?
No, not at all. Look, I'd say his upside is Case Keenum last year, which was decent. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the type of quarterback that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl, like a Carson Wentz or Eli when he got dragged to the Super Bowl by the Giants defense. And I don't think Dave Gettleman's a very good GM either. So I don't see him building a team strong enough to get Kyle Laletta to the Super Bowl. Although Kyle Laletta is actually really, for a quarterback, he's actually pretty, he's got good, I can't even speak English. He's got good athletic metrics. That's what I want to say. But his throw velocity is pretty low, which I don't know how that's going to work out in the swirling winds of the new Meadowlands or whatever it's called.
Brian Billick claims that Kyle Laletta may be best quarterback pick of the draft. That's very vague, and that's a reason why he's widely considered one of the worst. But Mike, are you loser or winner on Team Laletta there?
I'll go winner. Eli is basically at the end of his run. We saw last year that the Giants were ready to, basically say, fuck you. They handled that situation poorly. But like Bobby said, the fact that Davis Webb didn't even get into the game, that tells you everything we need to know about Davis Webb. Laletta, he could go. I mean, he came from Richmond. Not a bad school, 4th round. Anything after the 4th round is when you really start to, kind of take some flyers. Like Bobby said, Shermer has produced some very good quarterbacks in the past. I am really envious of the Giants' weapons that they have on offense. If Laletta ever does get in, I like Shepard, I like Ingram, I like Beckham. Now you got Saquon in the backfield, Bobby's favorite guy in the world.
Okay, quick. I just have to interrupt you there. Quick correction. I love Saquon Barkley. I will root for Saquon Barkley because he is a Giant and I want him to do well and he seems like a great young kid. I just think that the pick of him at number 2 was the stupidest thing that Gettleman could have done, especially because he supposedly had an offer of at least 3 second-round picks, and the presumption is a later first-round pick.
Oh, yeah, it was a bad pick, but Barkley seems great. Seems like a good young dude. He's going to tear the league up. But, yeah, it was an awful pick. But, yeah.
How do you feel about that pick, though, if he converts to quarterback?
I'd actually like to see that. But the one thing I do want to add here is, and I didn't even mention the playmakers before, but they're all super young. So whoever the next quarterback is of the Giants is going to have just all of the weapons in the world to throw to.
Can you imagine Josh Rosen with them right now? Oh my God, that's a playoff team next year with Josh Rosen under center. I don't care. I don't know about with Eli, but
to the heart, Shane.
I was watching the draft with Bobby, and like as soon as they said Saquon Barkley, I just basically videotaped him fall down on the couch, and I've since turned that into a GIF. I would be happy to share.
I told Sam before that if they say Saquon Barkley, I was gonna die. I had to follow through.
Yeah, I almost pushed him out the window.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming. Gettleman's too stupid to throw out smoke screens. He traded for a punter before. The guy traded for a punter. So he's not very,
learned some stuff from his stop in Carolina and why he was forced out in the first place, but it seems like he hasn't learned anything.
No, and you could tell during the presser when, Sam, I think, referenced it when he was making fun of, people that use computers and spreadsheets because it was, I don't know if you watched that video, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You
didn't have the same reaction that you guys did. I
didn't think if you want to look at facts and trends.
That was Shermer.
That was Shermer?
Yeah.
Shermer was falling asleep.
Yeah, I would have.
Although I'm not going to shit on Shermer because he knows what he's doing with quarterbacks, but still.
Yeah, well, Shermer was probably like, "Oh, I'm stuck with this guy."
That had to be running through his head. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Someone shut this idiot up.
The last thing I'll say on Laletta.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Back when he was in Richmond, he made the All-Rookie team back in 2017. So there's definitely some pedigree there for him. So, and like Bobby said, that I was going to get to, all of his offensive weapons are super young. I'm very high in Laletta going forward.
Richmond actually, believe it or not, they've had a very good program for the last 15, 20 years. A lot of people don't know that. I'm from Virginia, so I'd see a lot in terms of Richmond, and a couple friends go to Richmond, like, oh, like they're going up for a national championship. Like, what? No, you're not. Of course, they played a different division. Or whatever. I like the move, and for all the reasons you just said, I'm actually going to say it's a winner for the simple reason that it's a combination of what Mike said, it's a combination of what Bobby said. Shermer knows what he's doing. He's got the golden touch, which sounds very homoerotic, and I'm sorry that I had to say that, but he does. And the weapons are just so good. Like, arguably the number one dynasty tight end, arguably the number one dynasty wide receiver. I think it's pretty clear that Ingram, you can make the case that he's not, but definitely Beckham's the number one wide receiver tight end, or dynasty wide receiver.
There are people who argue Hopkins, but they're probably wrong.
They're wrong. They're very wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're wrong too. Hopkins is a stud, but it's Beckham. And then Shepard's there too. So Barkley, I mean, he's going to have weapons there. So just for that reason, I think you have to say he's a winner. He's in a very good situation.
But just imagine Josh Rosen plugging him in there. Wow. That's a really good team. But I mean, hopefully Kyle Laletta works out for you too.
Yeah.
Bob, you got any other thoughts on Kyle Laletta?
No, I think that about covers it. I am interested to see what they do next year, especially if they decide this is Eli's last year. I don't know if they'll just roll with Laletta and Webb battling it out, or if they bring someone else in. I actually don't know what the free agent class looks like next year either. So for all I know, there could be someone quote unquote better out there. But I think that we got pretty deep to Laletta, so we can move on to our next guy.
Real quick, I want to add one thing on Laletta. I've never seen a picture of him, so I just pulled it up on Google. And one of the pictures on the third row, I was like, that's not Laletta, that's Todd McShay. And it's Todd McShay. So that's the one thing I'm going to add why Todd McShay is on a picture of Kyle Laletta, but Google's clearly not doing their job.
It said spider on spider, so I'm guessing that he was a spider.
It sounds like a gross porn.
It does.
Well, in Japan, I'm sorry.
FF Pornbot is talking about spider on spider action.
Mike, would you subscribe to spider on spider action?
I would, yes.
From FF Pornbot? All right, we got to move on.
Pornbot told me to, I would.
For only $1 a month, you can see the hottest spider on spider action delivered straight to your streaming device.
If for no other reason other to troll my friends with it, and like when they leave, just throw it up on their laptop So when they come into the room, like, what the fuck is this?
So, real quick, this is a complete aside, but this episode's already pretty much gone off the rails. When we were freshmen in college, our good friend Zach used to do that same shit to pretty much everybody.
I just imagine when I go to Spider on Spider.com, it's like Kyle Aletta giving you like an intro video. It's like, welcome to Spider on Spider. All right, let's move on.
Moving on to Mason Rudolph.
All right, Mason Rudolph, my boy Mason Rudolph, getting selected by my boys. Pittsburgh Steelers taken third round from Oklahoma State. He was the 6th quarterback taken in this year's draft. Somebody want to start it off? Want me to start it off?
You started off.
These are my boys, so I'm going to give him a win. But it's not because that I put a lot of stock in Mason Rudolph. It's just I'm so convinced that this is the guy that's going to be the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I know they have Landry Jones and Josh Dobbs, but neither of those guys have really – Landry's been okay at times, but I don't see long-term success and stability. I think that they're so convinced that Mason Rudolph's going to sit, learn from Ben for 2 years, and then Ben will retire, or 1. But also, you got to love the weapons. They drafted James Washington. I don't care what anyone says, but like having that familiarity with a wide receiver definitely helps quarterbacks. They have, I mean, I think it's like obvious. So they played together for 4 years at Oklahoma State, 3 years at Oklahoma State. They'll do it again. They have arguably a top 3 or top 4 dynasty wide receiver. I think maybe top.
Antonio Brown.
No, Juju.
Oh,
I'm talking like long term.
You're putting Juju over Antonio.
Obviously a stud. So he's got the weapons. I think Rudolph's a winner. Mike, prove me wrong.
I can't. He's definitely a winner. He's going to go in and he's going to marinate for, a year or two under Ben, learn the nuances, learn how to play in the swirling winds of Heinz Field in the middle of November. He's got Juju. He's got Washington, that connection, like you said. AB's still going to be there. Bell might be there. I don't think he will be, but he might be there.
Outside chance.
Yeah, outside chance. Losing Nagy will hurt a bit. That's a loss, but I think the situation will be good. I don't think you'll see much, if any, return on investment this year for Mason Rudolph. But if you don't need a quarterback this year and you can get him, 3rd round of your rookie draft, go nuts. That's a thumbs up for me.
Shit, dropping all the way to 3rd. That's low.
That's pretty much where I have him in my Superflex.
That's where you have him too?
Yeah.
3rd round in Superflex, really?
That's crazy. Shane, what do you think? Winner or loser? Also, 3rd round, is that fair? Maybe 2nd round?
I play a lot of Superflex. I guess. Look, Bobby's the expert at the Superflex. I guess.
The thing is that you guys are probably right because we all know by now that this class is not as good as we thought it was. I'm probably still just hanging on to guys I want to be good that I shouldn't, and I should put Mason Rudolph over them. But a lot of it is based on the fact that my rosters, while they're big, they're like 26 usually with 2 taxi. So in my mind, I try to draft guys that are going to produce in year 1 because if they don't, I'm just going to drop them for next year's rookies anyway.
That's fair.
So that's where my thinking of Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round came from.
So you go winner or loser?
Well, I had juries out. He's the one guy that I couldn't determine whether he's a winner or loser. And I say that because I'm not as convinced that he's the heir apparent to Ben. I think he is, but I'm not totally sold on it. For people who read my 2 quarterback superhero comparison article, I compared him to a civilian Foggy Nelson because I didn't think he was a hero. However, I did say that James Washington made him a hero. So if James Washington and him are paired together, I do think that's a recipe for success. That was weird. Anyway, I know this is the cop-out, but I'm wait and see with Rudolph.
Shane, tell me you got balls unlike Bobby. You can tell me you say winner or loser.
Yeah, no, I'm taking it. He's a winner. Like, say week 4, Big Ben goes down to, I don't know, he chokes on a hamburger or something because he's a big fat ass rapist.
Or he raped someone and has to.
Yeah, or he raped someone. He goes to prison, like he probably already belongs. Mason Rudolph steps in with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Juju, James Washington. And honestly, that's a sick offense. I don't even give a shit if their tight ends suck, and they do. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you have a little bit of talent, you should succeed in that situation.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're all convinced, with the exception of Bobby. Everyone else. So it's 3 wins and 1 abstention.
Yep, that's right.
That will be a win.
You're like the Soviet Union in the Cold War. That's what you are.
The Soviet Union in
Yeah.
the Cold War? You
Yeah.
picked the wrong thing. Soviet Union was actively involved in the Cold War.
No. But sorry, not the Cold War. In the Korean War, they abstained when they said.
Why didn't you just use like Switzerland in World War II?
Yeah, like why he's just using some of. Yeah, in the War of 1812, actually, India.
I just figured Korea's kind of big in the news right now. I thought maybe I'd get some knowledge, drop some knowledge bombs and history bombs on our great listeners. But listen, I'm not perfect. You guys can burn me later. Maybe that's a burn for Shane later on. We'll know. But we got 3 wins for Mason Rudolph and an abstention. So let's go on to now. We got nothing but first round quarterbacks left, right? So number 32 pick was Lamar Jackson. Interesting, ends up in Baltimore, and he's from the University of Louisville. Mike, you want to start us off with Lamar Jackson? What are your thoughts there?
That one still stings. There was like a 3-minute period on Thursday night that I was very, very excited. Like, very excited.
Saints move up, and then all of a sudden they don't draft Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, like I got quite a huge smile on my face. But anyways, Lamar Jackson, that's a tough one. I think I really like the talent that he has. I really think he could be a good pro. I don't like the weapons that he has in Baltimore. I don't really like anything about the Ravens or Baltimore. I think for him to succeed, he needs to get out of there because their OC, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Marty Morningwig.
Thank you. Is not a very creative play caller. And I think that Jackson's the kind of guy who needs to have one to thrive. So can I say he's a winner and a loser? Can I say his talent would make him a winner, but the situation he's in makes him a huge loser?
What would be like the equivalent of a winner and a loser in either pop culture or like some type of alcoholic drink?
Tequila. You're a winner when you first take a shot, and then you vomit all over yourself, and you're a loser.
So you're almost like the winner, like you're the person drinking the tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is the guy at the bar drinking tequila.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Also, I guess I'll go next because I'm going to disagree with Mike about the loser because of the OC part. Marty Morningwig worked with and I got yelled at about this on Twitter, but basically Marty Morningwig and Greg Roman have both worked with quarterbacks that are similar to Lamar Jackson. One of them worked with Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco, and I think that was
Roman, I would believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then the other one worked with
somebody.
I don't know. Marty Morningwig worked with somebody that people were – oh, it was Vic, I think.
Yeah, in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so they both have experience working with quarterbacks that have similar skill sets to Lamar Jackson, so I actually like the fit. But I didn't like the fit at first and was on Mike's side until people yelled at me on Twitter and told me that I was wrong with the history lesson of the quarterbacks that they've worked with. The other thing is they have backups now I'm rambling, but the backup for the Ravens now, before they drafted Lamar Jackson, why am I blanking on his name?
The tall guy, Ryan Mallett.
No, I thought. Never mind. My point's dumb. Ignore me.
Okay. What do you think? So you're going loser?
No, I'm
winner.
Oh, Bobby's going winner. So Shane, winner or loser?
Yeah, he's a winner. I love Lamar Jackson, man. In Superflex mocks that we've done on Dynasty Football Factory, he was always one of my top 3 quarterbacks just because of the rushing ability that he's just going to add extra points every time he gets on the field. Problem is he's going to sit for the next 2 years because Flacco carries. You can't cut him this year because his cap hit's too high, and you can't cut him in 2019 because he's carrying a $16 million cap hit, dead money, unless they find a way to rework that contract with the understanding that they're going to waive him and they'll give him more upfront money or something. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure that stuff out. But I love Lamar Jackson. It's just I don't know what that offense will look like in 2 years' time or 3 years' time when he finally gets a chance to take over. And Ozzie Newsome. Was it Ozzie Newsome?
Yeah. This was his last draft.
Yeah, this was his last draft. So, I don't know who's going to be in charge of personnel there. That's a little worrisome. But straight up talent-wise, I love Lamar Jackson. He's just one of those guys. If his receivers suck, then he'll just be running the ball a lot more than he would if he had good receivers. And he should have great tight ends. I'll have Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst.
Also, the backup quarterbacks in Baltimore are Ryan Mallett and RG3.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, that's right.
So they had to, at least somewhat, just in case Flacco went down, they had to have a plan for what they'd do if RG3 was starting for them.
Right.
And they could probably use that same plan for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
and you could do it more effectively.
Am I the only one that's going to say loser here? Is that
Yes.
you guys going winners?
Mm-hmm.
Mike's winner loser.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the tequila guy at the bar.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to be the guy that's drinking the tequila. I'm just puking in the bathroom. All right? Like, that's who I am. Look, I like Lamar Jackson. I think that I've said this before. I think he has the ability to be the number one quarterback immediately for a year or two. But then defenses will figure him out. I almost picture you're thinking of somebody like an RG3 almost. But the thing I don't like is him landing in Baltimore. I've never, ever remembered Baltimore ever being a creative offense. When they had Brian Billick, they weren't good offensively. They basically rode that legendary defense. Trent Dilfer just didn't turn the ball over. With Harbaugh, they've still been rather average to like subpar. I know Joe Flacco's elite. He's an elite quarterback, but he's not very good. So I don't know. And that's fair, Shane, when you say I don't know what this offense is going to look like in 2 years, which is it could be they have all these great weapons, Lamar Jackson, they built it around Lamar Jackson. But then again, nothing about their entire history says that. Am I crazy?
Right.
Yes, you are.
I'm crazy, but maybe not for that reason.
No, you know what? And I'll say the reason that you are is because they drafted him. If you draft a player like Lamar Jackson, you better damn sure have a plan to work around his skill set. Now, you can refine certain things and say, look, we don't want you running as often, or we don't want you running up the middle, or, certain things like that. But your offense needs to be suited to his skill set, because if it's not, you just wasted a second-round draft pick for, next year and a second-round draft pick in this draft, which is sometimes more valuable than a first-round pick because of the money involved. So I think if they put the investment that they laid out for him, I think they have to have some type of scheme that they're going to set up the offense around him.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
You good with that, Mike?
It makes sense, but I just have no faith in Baltimore to be able to actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, if that were true, Shannon, I do believe you. Your thinking means a lot of sense. And Baltimore's not on the same page as Seattle and Indianapolis, but Andrew Luck would have an offensive line. That's just.
Well, he does now.
Okay, yeah, 4 years later. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Last words on Lamar. Anyone? 3 wins.
No.
Well, 2 wins and 2 losses kind of deal going on with Mike there. So let's move on to the next one. This is Bobby's favorite player. This is Josh Rosen. He goes to Arizona. He's obviously from UCLA. This is a tricky one, guys. Who wants to start this one off?
Oh, I'll take it. I have no manners. He's a winner for me. He's going to play year one. Sam Bradford will get injured. And it's not even like I want to call him injury prone. The guy has a degenerative knee. And he's also been injured every fucking season of his career. He's going to have decent weapons there with Fitz and Christian Kirk and David Johnson. I mean, just those 3, that's fairly decent weapons. I love it. I love the spot for him, and I love that they got him Christian Kirk.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Rosen is definitely going to play year one. Like Shane said, we've all said on the podcast before, Bradford will get hurt and miss time. Rosen is probably the most pro-ready out of all the quarterbacks in this draft. The weapons are good. Another weapon that Shane didn't even mention was Seals Jones came on and had a decent second half of the year last year. A healthy DJ catching balls out of the backfield. If you got nothing, you throw a little 5-yard screen pass. I think Rosen's in for quite the landing spot. Plus, he's not a quarterback, but you've got one of the ultimate pros and Larry Fitz being able to teach you the ropes there. So the one thing that I will say that'll hurt Rosen a little bit, he's going to have to go up against that Rams defense a couple times a year, and that's no joke. But I like everything that happened to Rosen on Thursday night. He's a winner in my books.
Yeah, I think that's right, guys. I'm gonna go winner too. I thought about it for a little bit. I wasn't sure just because based around Larry Fitzgerald's obviously a Hall of Famer, but after that, I just didn't realize. I didn't really know after year 2, year 3, year 4, who they're gonna have. But maybe they pick somebody up in the future. As of right now, I don't see anybody that they have that could give him some long-term sustainable success. But the guy's pro-ready. He's gonna play. He's gonna have ample opportunity to play. What else could you want from a fantasy quarterback? That's a winner.
Exactly.
Josh Rosen's a winner, and I still really like him. He'd be more of a winner if he had all the Giants' weapons, just putting that out there.
Super winner.
Yeah, he'd be like mega winner, easy QB1, just God among men,
walking around with an industrial-sized Pringles can down his pants.
Exactly. But I do
probably
have
win the NFC East.
DJ is coming off that injury. Fitz is older and probably a year or so away from retirement. So you have Rosen and you have Kirk, and then you have RSJ. But I don't really know who else he'll be throwing to. So that's a concern, although I guess if they don't do well, then the Cardinals can always draft someone else or trade someone, since there seems to be a ton of trades for stud receivers. But don't get me wrong, Rosen is a winner. The only thing is landing spot. Before the draft, he was my QB1 for fantasy purposes. He is very close to Baker Mayfield, and because of their lots, I flip-flopped him, and Rosen is now my QB2 in this class.
Fair. That's a fair change. Last word, Shane, you good, or should we move on to the next one?
No, yeah, I think someone brought up the fact that their line sucks, right? Did one of us bring that up?
We didn't.
Well,
it does.
We should have. Their line sucks. So, and he's fairly mobile, right, Bobby?
Yeah, he's not the most mobile guy. He's the best comparisons I've heard, and I can't remember where this originated, but I've heard it on a few different podcasts now. Is he's basically like a better Eli Manning crossed with Matt Ryan.
Okay.
Look, he's smart. He knows that his body is his way to play.
So maybe he just needs to learn to go down.
He's a pocket passer. He's not going to do much with his legs, and he's not really a scrambler.
Okay.
No.
Josh Rosen, 4 wins from us. Let's move on to the next Josh. This is Josh Allen. So I have to start this off. I had him. So obviously Buffalo takes him. It's from Wyoming. I had him as the number one, as my number one. Obviously, we saw all the stuff that came out draft day and the night before. But then also, I remember sitting here watching this with Bobby. I was like, oh, my God, if he lands in Buffalo, I don't even want to – I think he's a loser. So to your credit, Bobby, when you just said, hey, depending on where these guys finish, you can change your rankings depending on the situation. So
if you don't change your rankings based on the situation, you're just dumb.
Yeah, you're just dumb. So I'm saying loser. I'm saying off the bat, I was wrong, loser. But I think the reason I was wrong is because I don't like him in Buffalo at all.
That's fair. I just never liked him, but I never liked him, and now I don't like Buffalo because Buffalo is where, and I think Shane's podcast, Dynasty Trades HQ, get another plug in there, said the other week that that's where receivers go to die, and I agree with that. That is where receivers go to die. So he has old man Kelvin Benjamin, who babysat all of us when we were kids. That's a Jeff Miller joke. And he has Zay Jones, who I hope Zay gets the help he needs. And he has Charles Clay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I'm struggling to even come up with the names of the Buffalo receivers. Shady's still there, so that could help him. But Allen's just not a good quarterback, and he landed in a terrible situation. I don't want him on any of my teams.
I don't either. I didn't want him on any of my teams beforehand. I don't want him on any of my teams now that he's in Buffalo. Buffalo is just the fucking worst. I don't care that you played your college ball in Wyoming and know how to play in the elements. Nothing good is coming from Josh Allen or the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, Roto Dubs. The Bills are doomed.
Shane, so it sounds like it's 3 losses. You're going loss or win here.
Yeah, I'm just studying the Bills depth chart, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I know a lot of names, because I play fantasy football with some pretty deep rosters. There's a couple wide receivers. I'm pretty sure they're just making shit up here. Malachi Dupree was on the team at some point or another. He's still on the team. So there's that. Yeah, if he could have landed in a better situation, I could have thought about him. If he could have landed with a coach that wasn't a raging fucking idiot when it comes to, the offense, just based on what he did with Tyrod, pulling him for half a game and getting and basically eviscerating Nathan Peterman's career. And then switching back to Tyrod in the second half. So I have little to no faith in Sean McDermott. The weapons are fucking God. That might be the worst receiving core I've ever seen. And I lived through Todd Pinkston and James Thrash in Philadelphia.
James Thrash, who had the hands, right? Or was that Pinkston? Which one had the alligator arms? That one?
Pinkston. It was the lights, man. The lights were really bright. They made his arms retract. It's a weird thing how your body reacts to things. Yeah, now I'm gonna.
X on that team too.
Who?
Fred X Mitchell.
He would have been after him. That was the early stages of Donovan McNabb's career when they decided he didn't need any wide receivers, so they gave him the worst ones they could find. And it's funny, Doug Peterson was actually the quarterback that first year, and it feels like as head coach, he thinks completely opposite. He's like, I'm going to get as many fucking weapons for Carson Wentz as I can because I've seen what happens when you give him garbage. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a loser. Just, situation, the coach, the weapons. I didn't like him that much beforehand, but I was willing to take a shot on him, but not now.
Real quick, guys, one word answer, and then we're going to move on to the next two. Does Josh Allen start day 1, Bobby? Go.
Yes.
Shane?
C.
Mike?
We.
You guys took the fucking yeses that I know. So I'll just go basic yes. I guess I don't know Chinese or Japanese or whatever.
You could say anything. None of us know it.
So. Japanese would be
awesome.
High. It's just high.
That's it?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I think Japanese.
All that hentai you're watching, huh? All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Sam Darnold. We got two more left, and we're gonna call it because we're running out of time, but we'll make sure we get these in. So Sam Darnold, New York Jets, first round from USC. Who wants to start this one off? Mike, you want to start us off? Winner or loser?
Yeah, sure, I'll start it off. I like Darnold. I don't think he starts week 1 over McCown because McCown actually isn't terrible, contrary to what people thought. But I do think that Darnold starts at some point in 2018. The weapons are okay if Robbie Anderson can ever get his shit together and stop getting arrested. You got a Nua coming back. And Darnold's the kind of guy who I think is going to thrive in the city of New York. They should be in a lot of shootouts, so I don't see him just handing the rock off. In 2018, I could see him being a low-end quarterback too, maybe, but come to the 2019 and above, definitely a high-end QB2, low-end QB1. Darnold's the winner for me.
Hot take there. Shane, winner, loser. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I can't add much to that, so I'll just say he's a winner as well.
Well spoken, Bobby.
Yeah, I can't add much, but I will add that he's at least a little bit of a loser because on draft night, my fiance saw his face and she was disgusted by his looks. So he's a little bit of a loser, and I think the New York media will judge him a bit for that.
One thing that he so that's the loser. So I'm gonna go winner too, but I think just because how everything you guys said is perfect, and I also have to agree with Bobby. Dude is ugly as sin, man. Like, it looks like he just hit he jumped off the ugly tree, nosedive, hit every branch on the way freaking down, and then like fell into a pile of just complete dog shit. Underneath that was a dumpster. Finally, he was drafted third overall by the New York Jets, like just like that. I mean, that dude, super ugly, but hey, he's a winner in my book.
I bet you his girlfriend's smoking hot, and if she's not, he will have a smoking hot one.
Of course, she's a smoke show. Nothing. I would assume nothing else. Went to USC, starting quarterback. Come on, definitely.
Real quick, you know who he looks like? He looks like, to me, he looked like. Does anyone watch Breaking Bad, or did anyone watch Breaking Bad?
He looks like Todd, right?
The redhead, the skinhead guy.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, I saw a funny thing on 2QBs today. You guys like The Incredibles at all?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold looks like the villain from The Incredibles, and they put it side by side, and I was like, yeah, that's really, really accurate.
I'm thinking of the villain from
Jason Lee's character?
The animated, like, redhead character. I don't know who Jason Lee is, so yeah.
He's like the main guy, I think.
Well,
Jason Lee is. What the hell?
We'll retweet the 2QB account.
We'll be sure to tweet that out to the people. So we got 4 winners and an ugly, ugly loser. And now we finally come to perhaps the groin-grabbing section of the day, and that is Baker Mayfield with the Cleveland Browns, first overall, Oklahoma Sooner, Boomer Sooner, however it's called.
Boomer Sooner.
Who wants to dive into Baker Mayfield?
I'll lead off because it's all softballs, man. First of all, the dude's the best quarterback in the draft. Collegiately, he just did ridiculous things. He went from a walk-on to a Heisman winner. The weapons that he has are absolutely ridiculous. If Josh Gordon can find a way not to smoke a blunt, if Corey Coleman can stop breaking his hands, if Antonio Callaway can stop getting arrested, his offense is going to be sickening with David Njoku and Duke Johnson, Jarvis Landry, even Carlos Hyde. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Chubb
now too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I forgot about Chubb. I mean, that is, man, Hugh Jackson is a raging moron and does not deserve what fell into his lap. But with Todd Haley there, it's going to be disgusting what that team should be able to do on offense.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I would say I'll agree with that as well, too. The only thing I'll say is, people were losing their shit over the Cleveland offense and what it was going to be last year as well, too. And while we saw what it turned out to be, it was, Cleveland was a steaming pile of shit. And, Shane, you did bring up a lot of good points, but there was one underlying thing there. There was a lot of ifs. A lot of those ifs all have to break the right way in order for it to be electrifying, which, sure they could, or they could all, Josh Gordon could be smoking a blunt right now for all we know. He probably is. I will say Baker's a winner. He was my number 1 quarterback going into the draft. He's still my number 1 quarterback. I love the swag. I love that he keeps a fucking notepad on his phone of people that doubt him. I love that he planted the flag. I love that he walked into the fucking bowl with a flag that said, or a banner that said Pretenders. I love everything about Baker Mayfield. The guy's a winner.
So the only thing I would add is there's a question that was tweeted out, and I think it was by Brian Malone, who was on our podcast last week. If not, it was maybe Ryan McDowell. But one of them tweeted out the best pick of the entire draft was, and I know it's easy to go with number 1, but the Cleveland Browns needed a franchise quarterback so badly. And Baker Mayfield is that guy, in my opinion. And
sure.
Mike's talking about the issues they had last year. And sure, Gordon could smoke again, or maybe he's actually learned his lesson and he'll teach Callaway not to be such a fuck up. Sorry, Callaway, but you're a little bit of a mess. You'll be fine. Just listen to Gordon about what hitting rock bottom's like. But the thing is, it all starts and ends with your quarterback. If your quarterback's a mess, your offense is going to be a mess. So Baker Mayfield can turn that team around, I think. For me, the main concern and really only concern is Hugh Jackson. However, Dorsey has set it up so that basically anything bad that happens this season will be Jackson's fault, so that he can easily fire Jackson and they can get an actual competent coach in there. Baker Mayfield, not only a winner of the quarterback rookie class, just winner period for landing spot.
I think it's hard to completely dismiss all the weapons around him, the situation he's in, and say, like, I'm never going to take this guy. Like, you have to factor in, you have to weigh in everything. That includes all the targets around him. But Bobby, you nailed it. The one thing, and it's a glaring question mark. Like, it's the whole Hugh Jackson thing. Like, is he going to fuck this guy up? Because if he fucks him up in year one and Baker can't come back, that's it. Like, he's done. Like, he's not coming back in 3 years unless he like backs up Tom Brady or something. Like,
you could get Cody Kessler or Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, but that's why they brought Todd Haley there. I got to assume they pretty much forced that hire on Hugh. Like, look, you're a raging fucking idiot. Like, look what you did to poor Deshaun Kaiser. Like, this kid had all the talent in the world, and you fucking ruined him in the span of 3 weeks by benching him 16 times and just calling him out. He's a fucking moron. I can't stand Hugh Jackson. He's just a raging asshole. And he's going to end up being a winner and pretending like he had anything to do with it when this is all Sashi's doing. I'm sorry.
Mike, does Baker Mayfield start for the Browns opening day?
Yes, he does.
No, Tyrod's going to start at least 6 games.
Shane, break this tie. Tyrod or Baker Mayfield starting game 1?
No, it's going to be Tyrod because dipshit keeps saying it's going to be Tyrod.
It's also just they realized what they did to Kaiser, so I really do think they're going to let Mayfield have some time to develop before throwing him to the Wolves.
You think Todd Haley's probably nudging him like, listen, asshole, you just please don't ruin this kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So good job, guys. Any last thoughts on Mayfield in Cleveland?
None.
He's a lucky man.
He is
a lucky man.
Superflex, you should still take Saquon Barkley number 1.
Yeah.
But number 2 should be Mayfield. I don't care if you have enough quarterbacks, take him and trade one of your other ones.
Yeah, 102 in any of your leagues has to be Baker Mayfield.
Well, not if it's not 2 quarterback or super flex.
Well, then why the fuck do you listen to this podcast?
Well, some people, in fairness, some people might not know that you guys transitioned into a quarterback-centric super flex 2QB podcast, and they might just be listening and just discovering that now. But
listen for the burns anyway. So.
Yeah. And if anyone thinks that you should draft a quarterback at 102 in a fucking one quarterback league, I don't even think they know how to turn on the radio. So I want or turn on a podcast. So there's no way they're listening to this.
That's fair.
All right, and we're running low on time, so we're gonna go right into our afterburns of the week. Anybody want to start us off? Bobby, you got a burn?
I mean, the obvious burn.
We think we know it is. Yeah,
is Dave Gettleman. I'm not even kidding when I say Dave Gettleman almost made me not a Giants fan anymore.
You were hot, man.
I'll never not be a Giants fan, but I was like staring at a picture of a Blake Bortles jersey thinking, do I order this and just become a Jags fan, figure out how to watch all the Jags games? Because Tom Coughlin has never done me wrong the way that Dave Gettleman did me wrong.
He's never done you dirty.
It wasn't even – so as I said, Saquon Barkley he's a good guy. He's going to be a great player, I think. It was more the stuff Gettleman said after of, oh, I had trade offers. I just didn't fucking listen to them because I'm an arrogant little fuck. And also, oh, analytics, those are terrible. Let me mime this. Oh, wait, it's not like the team that just won the motherfucking Super Bowl had, yes, Shane, you can gloat a bit, had one of the best analytics departments in the entire NFL. Or that the team that continually makes the Super Bowl also has one of the best analytic departments in this entire NFL. So thank you, Dave Gettleman, for trying to take the Giants back to the 1990s when it's in fact the year 2018. You stupid piece of shit.
Burned. Mike, you get what's happening in the fast food world of Canada or the driving world of Canada, man? Or is it going to be a different burn? I think we know who it is. It's going way down south, right?
It's going way down south to the bayou, and I'm burning Mickey fucking Loomis. Mickey Loomis, you've done a lot of great things for the New Orleans Saints. You've gotten such draft day steals like Marcus Colston super late, Zach Strief super late, and then you had last year's great draft when you got. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. My stuff going on. You got Kamara, you got Lattimore, you got Ramczyk, and you're thinking, yeah, the Saints are finally on their way up. They learned their lesson. They're through Bountygate. And what do? You trade your first round pick this year. I think it was a 5th round and a 1st round last year, or next year rather, to move up like 12 spots and draft Davenport. So for the people listening earlier on in the show, I was very excited when it was announced right before commercial that the Saints had made a trade to 14. I thought, here it comes. Here's Lamar Jackson. I really like this kid. Too. I was like, he's going to be, sitting behind Breeze for like a year or two. And I was delayed because I worked late on Thursday, so I didn't get home until after 8 o'clock. So I was on tape delay. I had my phone off and everything. So the commercial break comes back. I'm like, fuck yeah, Lamar Jackson, here we go. And all of a sudden, the New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport. What the fuck are you doing, Mickey Loomis? You're mortgaging the future for this year. I do think the Saints are going to be very good this year, and I think they'll be a contender. But to give up next year's first, if it would have been just this year's first and the 5th, sure, fine, whatever. But the fact that you don't have a first next year, you already saw how deep or how thin the draft gets quick when you didn't have a second this year, which you traded last year in the Kamara trade. Like, I think Davenport will be a good player. I've watched a lot of highlights on him over the last, 3-4 days. But you just gave up way too much. And you're putting a lot of stock in this kid who, what most people who I fairly respect fairly well say is going to be a bit of a project. If he ever pans out, if him and Cam will be the super sack duo and they could, easily reach 20-25 sacks a year. That's just way too much, way too big of a risk to take. I don't like it. I'm very upset. I hope Davenport proves me wrong. I hope in 8 months' time, 10 months' time, I'm being able to gloat like Shane because the Saints are Super Bowl champions and Davenport takes down Tom Brady with 30 seconds to go. So that's my burn of the week. Mickey Loomis, you've lost my trust.
I got a football NFL draft related burn too. This one's coming out of Cleveland. Tony Grossi, at Tony Grossi. He's the Browns analyst for ESPNCleveland.com. I think he said it. He might have tweeted it, but it's since been removed. That he would retire if Baker Mayfield was the number 1 pick from the Cleveland Browns on Thursday.
I remember that.
It was, and everyone tweeted at him and blew him up, and he was blocking everybody and not responding and just being a dick. And the guy on Friday and on Monday today just came into work. So Tony Grossi, way to stand up to what you believe, way to stand up for what you believe in and sticking to your word. That is excellence in sports broadcasting, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, the piece of shit kind of at least retired for like a fucking day. And just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just, like, hey, I'm an asshole. I retired for one day. He's not even going to do that. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Not even for, just retire from the show for a day, come back Monday.
There is another guy I read about just real quick who said he would eat horse shit if Baker Mayfield was the first overall pick. And he's actually apparently standing up to his word and going to eat horse shit.
Yeah, that's not healthy. He should probably not do that.
Shane, you have any burns for the week?
So, I'm going through my mind's eye here thinking about things that I fucking hate. And it's like, you're on overload. There's too many things coming at you because I hate a lot of shit. I was in general going to say people. But I thought, that's pretty broad just to say people. Then I was going to attack some Twitter stuff, but that's not any fun. So I'll just go with the people that were tweeting shit out about Darius Geis and saying, like, I have a story to tell once he's drafted. You know what? You're already, and prominent people, not like me and you, because who gives a fuck if we say that, to be quite frank, but prominent people putting that out there. Like, you might as well just put the story out because you're already throwing shade on the guy's character before, without even saying what it is. And then it came out that apparently Darius Geis kicked the shit out of Deuce Staley and ransacked a couple of Wawas and all types of other nonsense. And the Eagles, Howie Roseman came out immediately and was like, he didn't have an altercation. There was no altercation on his visit. So we don't know what you're talking about. I just hate people that do shit like that. People that tweet or even in your real life, like, oh, well, I know something about someone, but I'm not going to say anything right now until it's over. Like, just fucking say it. Like, don't even insinuate it. Just fucking say it.
Especially if you're ruining someone's reputation.
Yes.
And I have that same concern too, especially with some of the bigger names in sports reporting now. I talked about this with my dad. We were like, they can just make things up, and because they're well known, people will believe them. They can say like, oh, my sources say like Shane ate a baby, and we'll be like, well, I guess Shane must have ate a baby.
He looks like the type, you know.
Who are their fucking sources?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes I know you have to protect your sources in journalism, but sometimes I feel like once you get big enough, people are just like, oh, my sources, aka I'm just really bored on a Friday night.
I'm gonna start tweeting my insights, my source with the New York Giants. It's gonna be Bobby, and all you gotta do is talk about how Gettleman has lost the fucking locker room. Maybe that'll spike and get him fired.
I like it.
All right, so anytime you guys see a tweet of mine, it's my source of the Giants. You guys know who it is. All right. Listen, this was a great show, Shane. Thank you so much for coming on. Really enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time. Go ahead. Again, everyone, he is the host at I'm sorry.
Dynasty Trades HQ. I have a t-shirt. You should check out their shirts too.
Yeah, I'm a co-host. There's Michael Sipes and Jeremy Browen. Dynasty at Madman. The Dynasty something Madman. I don't. What's funny is I should know people's Twitter handles, and I fucking don't.
Sipes is
it's tough, right?
And
it is.
Jeremy is DFF_Madman.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys. So yeah, check them out. Those are my guys. They really make the show. They put up with a lot of shit from me. So yeah, check out our podcast. We try to have fun, bring you some knowledge. Like I said, Bobby was on there. Check out that episode. He was good enough to, I think he might even help us edit. I don't even remember at this point.
I helped you pull the MP3 and taught you how to use YouTube, basically.
Yeah, there was that. That's what he did. He did stuff. That's all. I do some writing as much as I can, not as much as I'd like. Just check out the website and, let us know what you think or don't, whatever. As long as you read it. As long as you give me the views, I got to be honest with you. That's fine.
Mike, where can we find you?
On Twitter, at Mike Jarvis, all one word. On Insta, at Mike Jarvis, YNWA.
Get in that Insta game.
Got to. It's going to be fire.
And you can find me at Wrecked Fantasy. I am not giving out my Insta handle still.
What is this Insta?
Instagram.
Oh, we don't say Instagram. We just say
that's what the cool kids call it, apparently.
You just drop the Insta.
But you can find my work on DLF Football as well as Two Quarterbacks. Also, Drop Day Consultant, and you can find me tweeting all the time. I am a Twitter tough guy, I suppose. Sam, where can they find you?
Yeah, guys, I'm at the Needy One. Obviously, this is at Afterburners Pod. This is the Afterburners Podcast. You can find us on Podbean, Stitcher, and iTunes. Don't forget on iTunes, you can download, subscribe, review us so that we can actually start getting some stars up there. Hey, give us a 1-star. I don't really care. Tell us how shitty we are. Also, don't forget to tune in every Tuesday and Wednesday and subscribing to it. We'll give it right to your inbuds. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy those rookie drafts. Good luck with Baker Mayfield.
Until next time, Fantasy Twitter, keep it classy.